What's up, Maxie?
What's up? This is the one where you actually need that coffee, dude.
Get
We're
shit
gonna
done
be on.
coffee.
Yeah.
It's an early morning.
We're gonna get a lot of shit talking done here. That's for sure.
We're probably going to piss some people off. We probably pissed some people off on 301 too, if that whole off-road debate. But I did like Zach Ryan's rebuttal with that picture. That was awesome.
Yeah, his meme was perfect.
Absolutely. But hey, get shit done coffee, home of the hustle. We have a discount code where you can get like 50% off of your second purchase or whatever you enter there. It's pretty good stuff. Check them out. Links in the written description. With that said, enough jibber jabber. Let's drop that intro. Woohoo! Silly season time.
Nitro is the glory, but e-buggy pays the bills. Welcome to the No Name RC podcast. Get ready for some serious bench racing. But be warned, we speak our minds, express our thoughts, and sometimes things can get a little rowdy.
Hate, and he just was influenced by the hate coming from the left, the hate coming from the right.
And let's get back to more club racing and less of this grabbing racing.
It's hard not to be arrogant when you're always right.
See what I mean? That's exactly why people call you arrogant, Max.
You may not agree with everything we say, but it's definitely worth a listen.
And our pick, can you stop whatever you're doing?
Join your host, Lefty the Great, with co-hosts and guests as they get together to chat RC.
Hey, after that race that I watched this morning, I have to talk about it.
Here we go. $100 right here, $100 throw. Oh no! I like this.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Nitro's the glory, but e-buggy pays the bills. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to show number 302 of the No Name RC podcast. I'm your host, Keenan White, aka Lefty the Great, and over to my virtual left or right is the professor of everything, Mr. Maximus Mortimus. Got his wool hat on this weekend, this podcast. Switched it up.
Yeah. Cannot look like I'm wearing the same clothes every day. Because we do these podcasts in the Thai spurts. So
that is your uniform, though. That's your environmental anarchist uniform. You know, I noticed that. Yeah, that shirt, a black shirt underneath, your pants. Yeah, typical Max Mort stuff. But yeah, everybody, welcome back. We are doing a silly season report. This is our second silly season report of the year. It's going to be up for Patreon early access as well as YouTube member access. If you guys like what we're doing here at the podcast, want to help us out a little bit, we're doing a lot more. Well, I am personally on the NNRC Patreon. Come over, join the Patreon, support. All that helps us pay some bills around here. We greatly appreciate it. And we greatly appreciate you guys, the patrons and the YouTube members, for all your support. It's grown substantially. Let's keep that going. The bigger that the Patreon grows, the more that we can do to it as well. And more content. Maybe I definitely want to do an all-out barn-burning patron-only podcast where we just go right, no holds barred. Even more than we do regularly. Also, a big shout out to the NNRC squad around the world. We can't do this without you guys. Thank you for all the support. Keep on clicking that like and sub and notification button on that YouTube channel. If you're listening to us on the audio only preference, please continue to share as well as leave a review. Come on over to the YouTube as well. Give us a like there. Don't forget to go to our socials. I know I've been kind of quiet on Instagram with doing the reels of races. I kind of haven't been there, but we've been doing some cool clips. Talking head clips, more to come as well. And also, don't forget to go over to our Facebook and our TikTok. Hit those like buttons as well and follow buttons. Also, a big shout out to these companies for their support. We can't do it without them for advertising on the podcast. They are Invisible Speed, High Tech RC, Corsa USA, Sidewinder Fuel, Mayako, Beach RC, Techno RC, Clinic RC, Stacked RC, Racecraft USA. A big shout out to our drivers, David Ranafolk, Robert Badier, Alexander Hagberg, Matty G, Paco, Ivanen, Unahotnen, and Mason Fuller. Also, if you guys want to help us out, showing these companies some love, shows us some love, We have coupon codes, affiliate links, and everything else in there. I know our affiliate sponsors like Carl RC and Donovan RC all have affiliate codes. Coupon codes where you can save some money. We greatly appreciate that. And I have to say a big shout out to Elite RC Productions, who I am with while this podcast comes out to the general public next week as we get ready for the AMS 15.0. I'm excited about going there. It's going to be great. I'll see you there. We're going to be doing a live show Thursday from there. And then, of course, the following week, I'll be at the Florida Carpet Championships. Can't wait to hang out with all my Southeast racing family. Of course, we're going to see a lot of international races between AMS and the Carpet Championships. And I've topped it all off at Fall Brawl. So thank you for all the support. We greatly appreciate it. Remember, also, if you're a company, you like what we're doing, as soon as this guy over here gets all our tiers sorted and Briefcase gets it all done up in our nice, sweet one paper and presentation, we have tiers for all companies outboard. If you're a small company looking for a short campaign, hit us up. We can make it happen. Please, that also goes to making sure that this podcast keeps running and everything that we do. And we can pay Max so we could get some new clothes, like he's always in his Halloween costume, which is a environmental anarchist. And I'm always in my RC car enthusiast costume because that's all that I have, to be honest.
The thing is, I have an RC racing TV shirt on from the Worlds, by the way. I was part of the team, but I do get pretty much all of my clothes either as a sponsorship or then from secondhand markets. So that's why I look like this.
Me too. I in my closet it's just RC clothes. And then when I go to Walmart, I buy shorts and stuff and track pants. Like I hate jeans. Like I like shorts and track pants and stuff like that. Anyway, we guys greatly appreciate that. And we're looking forward to getting some new companies and doing some really cool things in 2025. Watch this space. We're going harder than ever. No shout outs, no happy birthdays, none of that good stuff. We're going straight into silly season. And sorry about that, everybody, but kind of this is just hardcore silly season talker. And it has started. So with that said, we got to pay some bills. A big shout out to Invisible Speed for all their support. We greatly appreciate it. Make your speed visible with Invisible Speed and stop scrolling.
Stop scrolling, you wanna be Lewis Hamilton? Learn something new with Invisible Speed. You can't do everything at 100% maximum speed. You have to be smooth. I mean, when you drive a real car, how do you just, when you get to a 90-degree corner to turn into the parking lot, do you go like that with the steering wheel? Do you like slam on the throttle and the brake? No. You probably turn the wheel smooth and get on the throttle smooth. Same thing with an RC car. If you want to learn more and make your speed visible, stop scrolling.
That's right. Stop scrolling. We have links for Invisible Speed books and courses in the written description of this podcast. All right, Max. So this is our silly season second report. I wanted to, we definitely going to get into the gossip and what we kind of know and all that stuff, but I kind of wanted to take a step back and really have a look at silly season, what it means, how exciting it is for lots of people, and this buzz that it creates around at the end of the year. Now, it's always been a popular thing, but I think it's kind of ramped up in the last few years because of some idiots on a podcast, but it's really, okay. So let's talk a little bit about silly season. When I was just an avid RC enthusiast, and I still am to this day, but back before I worked in the industry and all this type of stuff, and I was racing and just an RC enthusiast, even way back in the day when I was doing it back in Bermuda, it was always this fascination with how much do these drivers make? How does it work? Every year or every couple of years, we know that at the end of the year, there's going to be some switching and changing. It's kind of like, I would compare it to, in our sport, in our industry, it's similar to the transfer period for English Premier Soccer, football, or like the NFL draft. The draft is a little different because it's like getting young, people out of college, but similar. Lots of hype, it's a lot of hype around the draft, or like trade season in baseball, or trades that happen in sports, or even motorsports. We're seeing in Formula One where Lewis Hamilton is leaving Mercedes and going to Ferrari, next year. That's all interesting stuff. It's, you know, it's interesting. It gives the media something to talk about. And in other sports, it's not shunned. You know, yes, it's kept secret and people try to keep it secret, but it's not shunned. It's funny because we just, as we're recording, which is Thursday, the World Series just happened last night and the Dodgers won. Congratulations to LA. I was watching a documentary about Boston and the Yankees when Boston broke their 86-year-old curse of not winning a World Series, right? And they got into talk about trade talks. There's in the middle of the season, they are thinking about the team was looking at a different shortstop from Nomar Garcia-Power. They were looking at some other shortstops. Nomar Garcia-Power got wind of it. He got pissed off. You know, it was a whole bunch of behind the scenes stuff going on. One team exposed that they were doing it like this. This happens at big franchises, multi-million dollars on the line, right? Baseball has a lot of money involved in it. And I was watching this and I was like, that's kind of like what we're doing in silly season, but just with thousands of dollars. Oh, in some cases, hundreds of dollars, right? So it's always been a big fascination for us every year. And I have been very addicted to silly season for many years. I remember when I first really met JQ, that's all I talked to him about. Was like, who's going her and what's going to happen to her and why is he doing this? You know, I remember the first time we were hungover. Like when we really sat off, we was hungover. We were sitting in the river up or not too far. And I was like, Jake, we was talking about Cavallari. He was talking about this and where he's going to go. And he was telling me this stuff. And that just fed my whole silly season, like passion. Fast forward 7-8 years and we're just crazy about it, right? I mean, even Live RC gets in on it. You know, remember they're probably going to do it again this year. I know Hooks used to do like silly season rumors and all that type of stuff. So on the media side, it's kind of been embraced. I see Circus RC really, he kind of gets into it. He has his little things. We're going to talk about that because one of his things was one of his articles had a big clue in it this week. So the media seems to be embracing it more. Of course, we're fucking idiots and we have issues. We go completely crazy for this shit, right? We really do. But I think that some of the drivers are starting to get into it a little more. We see some drivers playing with us and playing, you know, showing out clues. That's great. I like that. I think that the industry should embrace this more, should accept that it's something that their clients, which are the average racer, enjoy this. And I think they should allow their drivers to play with it. Now, I know that some drivers probably even use this to get better deals and stuff like that. You know, they'll let something slip on purpose if somebody would tell me or something like that and they use it as leverage, right? And dude, I can't tell you how much the general public loves silly season. I will tell you right now who's probably like the craziest silly season person, Salty Joe. That fucking salty guy will message me every day, send me a picture. What's this? He looks like he has turned into such a pretty good silly season sleuth and looking for and for a guy who doesn't really have Facebook. It's just like Instagram and, you know, his always every day. He sent me something this morning. He sends me a message from Discord. What's this? I'm like, what? I don't know. Like I sent it to you. I'm like, nobody knows. So people are really into, I mean, I can't tell you how many people like send me messages talking about this person's going to do this. And what do you think about that? People love it, man. And, you know, I think that the industry needs to embrace it. Yes, I get some things have to be secret, but, you know, it is what it is. So, and when we geek out on this stuff, we have to kind of have some guidelines about this, right, Max? I was thinking about that. And some of the guidelines is like this. We personally, you are more concerned about 8 scale than anything, right? 8 scale off-road is anything. Yes, we dabble in a little bit of 10 scale and we're going to be doing more of that. 10 scale moves aren't that big to me, but the people that are racing 10 scale that are fast are racing 8 scale, right?
Yeah.
I get it. 10 scale moves are big. On-road, I don't know too much about unless a big name signs. That's great. I mean, I would love to have a dedicated NNRC on-road podcast that wants to delve deep into that if anybody really wants to do that.
But I have to say this, that I followed on road for a long time, like in like with the like in the side, like on the side. And I have to be honest that I don't really feel like they have that exciting silly season. I could be wrong, but like if we think about it, Volker ran for Yokomo the longest time until he joined Mugen, and since then he looks like he's locked in for Mugen. Bruno has ran X-Ray from the start of his career, still with X-Ray. Well, that could change, but still with X-Ray. Um, sure, there's some of these other guys like Yannick Prumpa, who's went to Infinity, went back to Yokomo, and then some of these other sort of maybe make a world's AMain guys. Usually in the Euros AMain guys. Yeah, these guys move around a bit, but I have to say those are not like the big guys when it
Right.
comes to on road.
I get
And
it.
then that being said, also there's always like 2 or 3 guys in the world same from Japan, and
Mhm.
like Japanese RCC, it's kind of independent. It's like they don't speak English around there, so it's hard to follow.
So, but my point is, I mean, we just don't know. And if somebody wants to head up NNRC on-road podcast and wants us to produce it and I'll do all the editing and all that stuff, hit me up. I'm willing to put somebody on the team like that. But our focus is nitro buggy, right? And because I had this discussion with a industry person this weekend, and he was like, oh wow, because my point was, this is the point. I said the only people to beat Mayfield and Phend at any of the major races, and what I consider a major race in the USA, are one of these. And no offense to other races that might have 2 or 3 or 4 of these pros, this is what I consider the major races in the USA. I consider SIC, DNC, PMB, Silver State, the Nationals, Wicked Weekend, AMS. Why? Because those are the 7 races where I know pretty much every single top American is going to be there. And we can possibly see some Europeans at those. Like we definitely see Europeans at DNC. We see Europeans at Silver State. And we're starting to see them come to race time events. Now, just because they have Europeans doesn't make it so. Yes, I know there's some races that are really good out there, like the Mugen Challenge, where like a few of the pro guys show up, or even like we saw this past weekend with or we talked about in the 302, the AZ Oktoberfest, where we have Mayfield and Heckert and these guys. But when I say major races like that 15 people that are in that main, which is usually about 15 people, are people that I expect to be in that main, right? And also, it's not about e-buggy and truggy. I'm sorry, everybody. I know everybody, the e-buggyists and the truggy people around her, they're going to be like, well, he won e-buggy and he won truggy. Look, here's the bottom line. I have nothing against those classes. I enjoy them. We're going to have an e-buggy world championship here, which is great next year. But even the top guys will tell you that to them, in 8 scale, it is all about nitro buggy and that win. There's a reason why Techno was super excited about the Nationals this year. Why? Because that was their first time ever winning on Raw national title for nitro buggy. They've won plenty of e-buggy Raw national titles, but there's just no. I'm just being honest with you guys. Like, that's why I believe that the 1/8 scale world championship is the most prestigious world championship to win in RC. Yes, people will argue about 2-wheel drive being that. And I would say in 10 scale off-road, 2-wheel drive is the equivalent of nitro buggy in 8 scale. Yeah, like 4-wheel drive's cool, but it's great. Don't get me wrong, but I don't think it is as prestigious as a 2-wheel drive title. I don't know if you agree with me on that, Max. I don't know.
Yeah, I think that's like back in the day, 4-wheel drive didn't really used to be a class. Like most of the chassis manufacturers didn't even make 4-wheel drive buggies. And yeah, I mean, it's just the fact that 2-wheel drive has always been like the first class and 4-wheel drive has been like the second class.
And it's also harder, right? It's harder class to drive, except on carpet, apparently. But and that's not to throw shade at anybody. Just like I would say that probably 1/8 scale on road is the pinnacle of 8 scale nitro racing in on road, and then 10 scale touring car is the pinnacle of the electric side. I don't think anybody can argue with that.
Yeah, and let me put this because all Europeans kind of know that an Italian national, it's an Italian national. It's not the same as Buggyland or the Euros or DNC or PNB or whatever. They know that. But then when people say, well, okay, like this Mugen challenge, it had, this and this and this pro. Well, the Italian nationals have way more World A finalists consistently than those events. For example, at the Mugen challenge, I don't think there was any driver who made the World's final this time out. And there was 2 Italians at the World's made this time out. And
that was a low blow, Max. That was
a low blow. But like, if you look at it, there was, for example, if you look at Spain only, there was Canas, there was Joao from Portugal, there was Robert in the main. It's like, if we want to look at Arizona, like the AZ Oktoberfest or the Mugen Challenge or any of these like decent level regional races as like, oh, these should be considered big events, then we need to look at all of those 5 rounds of Spanish nationals as a similar level event. And to be honest, if you look at the statistics, it's been looked as even a higher level event because, Joao and these guys, they make the DNC main too. So, and they consistently race fast at these races in Spain, and Ongaro and Berton and Barufalo, these guys in Italy, and even the UK nationals, granted, in the past 2 years or 4 years, they haven't been as competitive. But in the past, you had Lee Martin, you had Neil Craig, you had Elliot Boots, who was always consistently in the Euros A finals. So, yeah, it's like, if we look at AZ Oktoberfest or Mugen Challenge or whichever.
I would say Georgia Peach State Classic,
Fall
Peach State
Brawl,
Classic, these type of races.
Yeah, if you look at those races as like high level events or these are top events, like he won that race, that means something. Then you should look at each of those 5 national rounds from Spain and Italy and England and even Germany at this point, and say like, oh, those are big races too, but nobody hears about them. Nobody really gives a shit outside of that country. And to me, that's the, like, from an American perspective specifically, that's why it's sort of a slippery slope to start calling these big races, because they are not nearly as big as the regional events in Europe.
Yeah, and there's no offense to these races. Like, I think the Mugen Challenge is great. And don't get me wrong, Ryan Lutz beat Mayfield at that race or whatever. Yeah. If he beats him, he still beats Mayfield, right? Yeah. But they have, I would say that, not saying that those races are less stress, but they don't have the stress of 13 other guys who can beat them behind them.
Exactly.
You get what I'm saying? And it's no offense to these races. I just consider that those races that I mentioned are the 7 big races in the USA that people know about, and right?
I want to stress this, that it's not like they cannot become big races.
Exactly.
But our point is that right now, if we look at it's a lower tier event. You have the top tier, which is those 7, and then below them there's like the second tier. And I'd even say like Silver State and DNC, because they attract more than 1 or 2 Europeans, they attract up to 10 Europeans in a pro class. They are the sort of S tier, the very, very top tier.
International
below
events.
That, and then below that, then you have like, even PNB.
Of course. David. Of course. So that's my point about that. Also, if you listen to episode 300 in the interview with Mayfield, he tells you what I didn't realize. I've realized in the last couple of years is how much weight the companies put on the top 25 list. Right?
Yeah, that is interesting.
So Mayfield was telling us that their contingency for Techno is based on the top 25, like who's going to be there from that race, right? Yeah. And then you see like these companies use that as a guide because it's what we have, right? I know a lot of people don't agree with it, but until we have a proper series, and I'm telling you, we have a proper series. We just haven't. Only idiots like us do NNRC Cup, by the way, which I have been lacking on. If we do the points of the NNRC Cup, we actually have a series, right, in America. But my point is that Nitro is what these companies kind of base their. I would say yes, they want them to do well in e-buggy and truggy, but honestly, there's a filler classes, right? I'm going to be honest with you. They're fun, don't get me wrong, and they still get paid for them, but in the big scheme of things, Nitro is king in this. And I feel, and if you get offended with that, then so be it, right? But that is the truth, right? Because it's harder. It's the hardest thing to do, right? It's hard.
Yeah.
It's hard to be good in Nitro.
But-
it's hard to have tune and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But I don't
One
want to
thing-
get too deep into that. I just wanted people to know. Go say something.
Yeah. I want to say one point that, I do think actually the World Championship is a big factor. And I have noticed myself, because I remember when it was that there was no talks of e-buggy World Championship, it was that a lot of these guys skip the Euros for e-buggy. Like JQ consistently made the e-buggy Euros mains because like so many guys skipped it. So there was, Blanca was there, Ronnefolk went there. Maybe sometimes there was a Canas or someone, but it wasn't like everyone was always there. But in the past few years, let's say post-COVID, all of the top Europeans have always went to the e-buggy Euros. So
Yes.
In 2022,
Yes, I agree with you. And this last look,
yeah,
and also
2023 and 2024, everyone's. I'm not blanking on which way it was in 2022, but
I would say that after
2020
COVID, it started. I would say just
Yeah.
before COVID, and then after COVID, it started getting where. So, by the way, they have 150 entrants at most. That's the cap at these events, Nitro and e-buggy. And with one class, they literally have more entries than the Raw Enats, who has five different classes.
It's always like packed. So the limit is 144, and I don't think post COVID it has never been under that. It's always been at the limit. So you fill the race as much as you can, and it was at Rudy Arena in 2022, and everyone was there. So post COVID, every single time, all of the, let's say, top 10 Europeans have been at the e-buggy Euros. And now if we look at Buggyland, we look at IBC and races like this, all of these pros race e-buggy as well. Whereas back in the day, it really wasn't the case. And I think especially the Europeans have started to take e-buggy more seriously. I do think the race format needs slight tweaks and blah, blah, blah. That's a whole other topic.
Yeah, that's a whole other topic. But let's move on, because I agree with you. Now, I would say that e-buggy is bigger and more popular in the USA because lots of people run it.
Yeah.
But on a pro level, it's shown. The ENATS is there.
Yeah.
It never gets like a full contention. The ENATS does not get the pro turnout that the Raw Fuel Nationals get. Now, with it being a World Championship class, the first World Championship happening next year in Barcelos, I hope all the Americans come. They have no excuses. Somebody's going to be the first World Champion. It's going to put some weight behind it. Now, but moving forward, and also I would say that some of the categories that we care about in silly season is something that means something. Chassis is number one. Like
100%.
That is the most talked about number one thing that we worry about. Then I would say tires, right, is the next big thing.
Like back in the day when we had Nova Rossi and OS.
I was just about to say that.
Yeah. Like then it meant the engine meant more. But now it's like, oh, you're on Ultimate. Oh, that's an OS-based engine. Oh, you go to Elasticune. Oh, that's an OS-based engine. So sure, it is a change, but it's not like this whole factory who builds engines from the ground up is behind you. Like we remember Robert Batte when he ran for Nova Rossi in 2012. The whole Nova Rossi team was behind him. The OS team was behind Hara. The Orion team was behind Ronnefolk, and so on and so on. And I think that's the thing that has changed. And that's why I agree with you totally that tires are the second most important thing now.
Right. And I think in Europe, the tire thing is more of a big thing.
Oh,
and why
I
say that?
Oh, for sure.
Why I say that? Well, there's a few more brands, and I think that not one brand has at this moment, a stranglehold on an entire continent, right?
Yeah,
and now for J Concepts, who's putting more effort into their European game, throw them into the mix now. They were let's be honest, like they never really put their full focus into Europe. They've had drivers like Ronnefolk, but
and me,
yeah, you JQ, but I mean,
no, JQ wasn't sponsored by them. He was just stealing.
I remember going,
yeah.
I remember going on and working that deal out with Renault, with JQ. I remember when he came up with this idea after 2018 that he shouldn't have a tire sponsor.
Yeah, he didn't have a tire sponsor, so some drivers had AK sponsorship and some drivers had JCOM sponsorship, and then he just stole everyone's tires. That was
But-
basically his thing.
So when a driver changes a tire in Europe, it is a big deal. Now, that's not to say that it's not a big deal in the USA, but in the USA, I'm going to be honest. If you're not on J Concepts at this moment, you're kind of just like J Concepts has such a grip on the USA market that it's very hard for another tire brand to challenge them. I think that like Hot Race is doing an okay job. They still have to do some work.
They
I would
do
say
well in
TZ
West Coast.
Yeah,
Hot race do well in the West Coast.
right. No, that's a different story. Now you go West Coast, like Proline, aka still work, but they don't have any really real top names using those tires no more. What we had, so we see TZ. No, I would say TZO is probably the third most popular tire brand in the USA right now. I think so because they have a very cool brand. They've not been around for a long time, but they're pretty big, right? Especially in SoCal.
I'd say so. Yeah.
But it's very hard for these companies, with Hot Race and TZO and all these other companies, because there's 1,000,000 tire companies out there, to compete against J Concepts. Period.
Yeah, and let's be honest here. AKA, they were still a factor. Tebow ran AKA.
Lutz still runs them.
Lutz is still an AKA, but there was Tebow, there was Wiggins, there was bunch of these sort of high level drivers still. Even Cavalieri at some point was an AKA, and then that point. Okay, this was Cavalieri actually was before this point, but then there was this point where AKA kind of went to shit, and then Horizon bought them, and since then they really haven't had that sort of a hold on anything. Proline was still a thing until they sold to Proline or to Horizon. I think like that sort of stage with Cav and Proline, that was sort of the time where like
that was the last chance.
That was the last chance, and they kind of blew it. So I think like I'd imagine some people still run both, but at the end of the day, like they are very minor players in the racing scene these days.
Yes. Now remind me to tell you something about Proline when we get talking about Sean Ireland going to AMain. Remind me, because I'm probably gonna forget. So, and my point is that it's very hard for TZO Hot Race to even get one of these J Concept drivers, right? To even get one, like they can't, like Brandon Rose, Mason Fuller, who are young guys who could probably take another deal. I don't think they would leave J Concepts because they know that that's just like the tire to be on in America, right? And probably going to be one of the tires to be on in Europe at one point. So it's even harder for these drivers, these teams to sign these guys, but they have to sign guys to compete with them. Why? Because I was having this discussion with a tire guy, and he's like, "Who do you think I could sign that would win?" And I was like, "Well, you need like a Mason Fuller, because you're not going to get Mayfield away from J Concepts, and it's going to be very hard to get like a Phend and a Rivkin away from the J Concepts." Mm-hmm. And then like Mason Fuller, Brandon Rose, and these guys, they're not going anywhere because they know that's how important tires are to this whole thing. So my point to all of this is that, like, I'm just showing that I think that the big switches in Europe are a little bit bigger for the tire companies, and that now servers and what else we got servers. What else is another servers? It's kind of like the fourth thing.
Radio,
I would say
radio didn't used to be a thing at all because everyone
Fly
was
Sky
on
changed
Sanva, but Fly Sky has now changed it, and I've even seen some guys now after Fly Sky has come in go from Sanwa back to Fudaba or whichever way it is. But yeah, there was a point where radio was kind of like, yeah, you just go and buy a Sanwa and that's it.
Sanwa
now,
M12.
Yeah.
And
but
guess what? Sanwa didn't pay people either. Futaba did.
They paid few people, but very few.
But not a lot. Not a lot.
No. You had to be like the best in the world and ask for money to get money from someone.
No, I'm not deterring that there's like servo companies or I don't know what other companies, titanium company, all that type of stuff doesn't factor in.
Well, like electronics are a big thing as well these days because people run e-buggy as well.
Yes.
So I'd say electronics in 8-scale had died out for a bit because it was like majority of the guys in Europe just run hobby wing But now LRP has put a lot of effort into
Yes.
8 scale. And then in America, you have, Trinity, Exalt, these brands, even R1, they're coming out with 8 scale stuff. So I think that electronics are going to be like the next sort of a big thing. Corsa Tech, actually, in Europe, that was a big thing.
Well,
So,
it's also electronics
coming
is
back.
big in 10 scale. Bigger
Yeah, but
in 10 scale.
I'd say that there are a lot of, like, Ongaro didn't join Hobby Wing because of 10 scale, I don't think. I don't think he joined Hobby Wing because of 10 scale.
Right. But anyway, we're just showing the categories. And on this podcast, we care about chassis, tires, maybe engine a little bit, and then obviously we'll talk about other things. But the main focus is fucking chassis, right? Chassis is the most important thing. Why? Because chassis is the biggest thing. It's the thing that carries the most parts.
Yeah.
They
are always the majority of the driver's budget. Always.
Exactly. And also, contrary to what everybody thinks, that these drivers, top drivers like Orion Mayfield, can win with anything. Or no, yes, they can drive with anything, but can they win with anything? That's the difference. Like when you're racing against people, yes, against you and me, they can win with anything, right? But against fellow competitors, it's difficult. That's when it means the most. All right, so I just wanted to give a little history of silly season. It's super popular. We're seeing the industry embrace it more. We freak out on it. We kind of tell you what we base our judgment on. We we're kind of in line with the industry as they base things on top 25. I'm not so hyped on the top 25. Like, I don't base my drivers on that, but I understand how it's used.
But I think like it in the beginning, I criticized a lot because then there was like people like Carsten Wernemund was on the list, and he kind of had one good one good Worlds in 2014, and since then he never really was like a top driver, and he was on the list until like a long time after that. And there was a lot of like this American bias because it was started in America, but now I think it actually showcases quite well the level of drivers. Sure, there's some issues like DNFs fuck it up a lot because some races have 12 cars, some races have 18 cars in the main, and stuff like that. But I do think like it does this to like at this point it does make a lot of like good assumption of drivers level.
Look, I'm fine with companies using that. I have no issue with it. All right. So I just wanted to get that out of the way. There are some people out there that may not even know what silly season is. There might be some new guys coming in here that don't understand. And look, I'm going to tell you guys, silly season 99.9% of the time is about money. Simple as that. Now, there are some moves that are about the best tire. Like, I know that there's guys that run J Concepts that don't get a salary. They got contingency. They got a budget for tires, but they don't get a salary. They want to, because that's the best tire. You don't see that too much in chassis side or engine side because there's so many out there, right? To do that. Just like there's so many tires, but when you're in America, J Concepts is king. And as much as I love Hot Race and all these other companies, that's just the truth. And that's what you can't argue with that.
Yeah, I mean, but there are a lot of people who run Hot Race without contingency, without the salary in Europe too.
Yes,
that's
true too.
They are still the number one tire in Europe. Contrary to
pretty much. But a lot more competition, I would say.
Oh, for sure.
There's a lot more. There's a lot more tires nipping that Hot Race's butt than there is, and top drivers at Hot Race's butt than there is J Concepts at the moment in America. So that's a little basis of our silly season talk. We kind of went a little bit long on that before we get into. I just wanted to clear that up because there might be some people that don't even understand why we geek out on silly season, what it's all about, how we kind of base our decisions, and all that type of stuff. So I just wanted to clear that up before we start getting into news about silly season and some of the rumors about silly season, which is going to be brought to you by High Tech RC and Techno RC. High Tech just announced their new DB950 SWs and DB950 TW Ultimate Premium brushless servos. The 950 SW has the most torque. It has 555 ounces on 6-volt and 7-volt, 7.4. So that sounds like that's going to be your steering servo. And then we have the faster, more lively DB950TW. That boasts 402 on 6 volts and 486 at a pretty fast speed. So there you go. 2 new servos from High-Tech that you can try out. As well, I just saw that they have their new RDX2 800 very small portable Bluetooth charger back in stock and available. Go check them out at High-Tech RC or at your local High-Tech RC dealer, and let them know that Lefty and the No Name RC podcast sent you. And of course, a big shout out to Techno RC. Techno RC going to have a very quiet silly season, I think, this year. And they don't need any more because they got a pretty good squad. Thank you, Techno, for all your support.
Techno RC. Techno RC is a championship-winning manufacturer of high-performance A-scale, 10-scale, nitro, and electric RC buggies and trucks. With a worldwide dealer network, USA and Europe-based headquarters, comprehensive warranty program, and global race support, Techno RC is excellence in RC. View the full lineup of Techno RC race-proven vehicles by visiting www.technorc.com.
All right, Techno RC. Okay, so first we're going to get into some of the confirmed moves that we've seen on Facebook lately. Let me bring them up. I think we're going to start with the Parente bro. The Max is already on it. Let's go. Max is on it. The Parente brothers. Yep. Now, so some of you might not know who the Parentes are, but the 2 very young brothers who are very fast in Spain. They've made trips over to the USA where they're cutting their teeth and trying to get faster. I believe Danielle, who we're looking at now, maybe 17 now, 16 or 17. And then we have, what's the other one name?
Adrian,
yeah. Who's about 15 now, who's very fast as well. They have left Hot Race, and that is not a surprise. And this is about money because I know that they want to get paid, right? And we know that Nicola, he is not going to pay you unless he thinks you can get paid. So they are out of the Hot Race family, and the rumor is that they're headed to Seismic.
Yeah, I don't like. Okay, I don't know why they would go to Seismic. One reason would be that Seismic is kind of lacking on drivers because they only have the Killich brothers. They used to have like Canas and like so on, but Seismic kind of only relies on the Killich brothers. So I think that could be a reason why they're sort of eyeing out some new talent. But one interesting thing that they could do is I do believe they are somewhat familiar with Canas. Canas is J Concepts.
That's what I thought growing. Too.
And the Techno team, they are not like strangers to J Concepts. Almost everyone except for Itinal Hackett runs ProMotion, but everyone else pretty much runs J Concepts. So I think it's very likely that they could join J Concepts because from what I understand, it's only Baldos and Canas who are currently on J Concept Rubber. I doubt they're paying Baldos anything. Canas obviously gets most likely a nice paycheck. But yeah, I think J Concept could be a good move, but it could be really either of them. And I don't see, yeah, like you said, it's about money. It's like they want to get paid somewhere else, and that's the move. That's the move they're eyeing now.
Well, also, I might add that they're young, but these 2 kids are doing. I don't know about Adrian, but I know that Danielle is doing RC.
Oh yeah. Both made the.
No, but I mean they're doing it full time, like they're full-time racers.
Yeah. But so Danielle, are getting, Danielle finished from what I know, the Euros. It's like they are really high level. It's not like some random Spanish guys.
And also I know that I was told that they are getting a salary or getting paid from Techno as well. So yeah, I get it. They're out there. They're like budding. They want to get paid. I get that. They're young drivers, up and coming, and they're like what I mean. They're doing it full time. Like I think they're not even in school. I think one of them's out of school. Like he was I was told that Danielle was taken out of school to do this full time.
I mean, I don't know, but that could
true.
Yeah.
No, I was told that. That
it could be true. Ago. Yeah.
Anyway, I know a lot of people went like, "Who's the Parentes?" But in Europe, they are very fast, and they have been. They came. I think they went to Silver State and DNC.
They went to DNC both, and I believe that I could be wrong, but one of them either made it straight to the A or then was just on the brink of the A.
Could
So
be.
it's like they are fast in all conditions, pretty much. So
Yeah.
yeah.
All right. Up next, a lot of people might be saying, "Who's this guy?" This is Pretty Ricky Berton, 2019 European champion, 2024 Montpellier champion. So he has left Infinity. He ran Infinity for a few years. Just as the car comes to production, he leaves or he's kicked out. One of the two. We don't know if he's left or kicked out. But he is going to Matrix Tires. From what I hear, he's actually going to work for Matrix. So that is, he's going to work for Matrix. And
I do believe that he lives quite close to Matrix, and he left Ogo. So yeah.
And the other rumor is that he is going to Kyosho. It's not a rumor. That's pretty much confirmed.
Yeah, we had it.
He's actually been playing with it.
Yeah.
So
we'll touch on that later on, but yeah.
Pretty Ricky Berton to Matrix. That is confirmed. And then another young European driver that I know people don't know too much, but we know him because he's actually a pretty good 10 scale driver and now doing a little bit more. He's doing a lot more 8 scale is Clement Boda, who.
Yeah.
Did you share it? Okay, you shared it. Okay, I'm sorry. Clement Boda, young. Well, he's not that young. He's 21, 22 now. Leaving S-Works. He's been with S-Works for quite some time.
Yeah, so he joined S-Works during COVID pretty much. He made the Euros AMain in France with Associated. He's definitely more of a 10 scale driver, but he has been doing some 8 scale. I don't really know what's his plans, Shaw. But yeah, you can see 4 French 10 scale titles, e-buggy champion in French. A lot of wins in France, and then he's been doing well in international level at EOS and Buggyland with them. But he says that there are new things coming. Now, what are those new things? I have absolutely no idea.
What if it's Schumacher?
But I do feel Schumacher has such a full team. But then again, the other option would be AE. X-Ray, actually, now that you say that, X-Ray to me sounds like the most likely option. Because if we look at 10 scale of X-Ray, you pretty much only have Ronefalk and Coelho. You have Zalewski. That's the one I forgot. You have Zalewski, Coelho, and Ronefalk. I don't think they really have anyone else. Okay, you have Bayer, Gottsel, but these are not like...
Kobovic.
No, he's Schumacher.
Oh, that's right. Shit.
Yeah. So that's why I'm saying, with Schumacher, you have Ben Smith, you have Orlowski, you have Kobovic, you have Elias Johansson, you have Pekko, you have Jessica Paulson. Then associated, you have Karup, Jona, Hall Brothers, probably someone else that I'm missing. S-Works kind of has only Micha and then Clement. They do have this new guy who just got signed into the factory team of S-Works, Dominik Vlasek, who made the Euros AMain this year. Very young guy from Czech Republic. So they kind of have a future with S-Works. I don't think Clement ever really gelled with S-Works at any point. I don't think that he ever really showed his full potential with them. And I do think X-Ray would be actually a good one. They have Farid Ben Mohammed, who we talk about. Noha Ben Mohammed. Farid is his father. And they have that guy from France at X-Ray. But I'm sure they could fit another Frenchie there. So
okay.
He was at AE before, never been to Schumacher. So I think X-Ray could be a good fit for him.
Absolutely. We don't have any real confirmed news on drivers in the USA at this moment, but we do have a lot of gossip, so we are going to talk about that. All right. Up next is brands, and that is brought to you by Sidewinder Fuel. Sidewinder Fuel. Morgan Fuel has been collaborating with many of the world's top drivers for over 35 years. This has enabled us to test our fuels in many of the most challenging situations and take the development of competition fuels to the next level. The result is Sidewinder, the market's most powerful racing fuel. This fuel has been track tested and proven by national world champions such as Ryan Cavallari, Ryan Mayfield, Greg Degani, Mark Pavitas, and their current top driver is the young Feelong Win, aka Little Bump. These drivers appreciate that Sidewinder is blended perfectly for the high-performance needs of competitive racing. Don't let victory slip through your fingers. Purchase Sidewinder today. If you guys want to purchase some Sidewinder, hit us up. I'll put you in contact, and we'll figure out how to do it. All right, up next, we're going to talk about a little brands things that's going on, because this was brought to my attention. I have to add something to this as well, but I think we're going to put that in gossip. All right.
Yeah.
So, as we know, what we're looking at is a screenshot from the TLR race team, and it's from Scott Kramer, and it says, "Hey guys, just wanted to let you know I am no longer at Horizon. If you have any TLR questions moving forward, please reach out to Frank Root or Ryan Dunford. Thanks." All right. So, who was Scott Kramer? That was his name, I believe.
Yep.
So, as we know, Thomas Tran, who I credit TLR to still being around and a viable race team at this moment, is no longer working for Horizon. And I can't say that I'm surprised at that, because I think at the end of the day, that man was wearing so many hats and under so much stress at that company that he probably just got tired of it, right? And, you know, I fully understand that. I don't know the whole ins and outs why he's not working for him no more. He probably got a better job somewhere else, less stress and whatnot. So anyway, from what I've been told, this gentleman, I don't know if from what I told, he was in-house. So he was an in-house driver, in-house guy who got promoted to team manager of the TLR team and probably the other Pro Line. I don't know if he was Pro Line and all that stuff. Pro Line, aka Trinity, all that. I don't know if he had to wear those hats too, but I assume that he did. And assumptions make people look like an ass. But at this moment, I assume that. And I was told after 3 weeks, he either got fired or quit and has left Horizon altogether. So it looks like Ryan Dunford is the interim team manager. And if I'm a TLR driver with the thoughts of a possible dispersal of Phend from the team, which we're going to chat about here shortly in gossip, I don't know what's going on with TLR, man. Honestly, on the race side of things, a company looks like they just, yes, okay, they're releasing a new two-wheel drive. We saw them releasing a new two-wheel drive, but from a company that was once one of the biggest competitors to Associated and Heritage, and so much heritage, it's kind of just, I don't know, like what to say about it. Like everything, all the signals and signs point to, like, they just don't give two shits about racing, right? And
yeah, I mean,
it's corporate. We understand that. Pencil pushers, accountants, and all that are looking at numbers. And obviously, with the bashing side of things, it's so much more money involved in it. I totally understand that. But it's kind of like, I wouldn't want to be the team manager of TLR at Horizon. That must be so stressful, like cutting corners. Like you're dealing with, it seems to me you're dealing with a part of the business that nobody really gives a fuck about, besides the people that are really involved in it, like the engineers, Frank Root and those guys and whatnot. But I don't know if I want to be in charge of that. So I don't know what happened with this guy, but it's not a good sign for TLR, because it starts with the team manager, in my opinion.
Yeah, 100%. And it kind of looks like, okay, we said before that AKA Proline have died. Why have they died? Because, you know, Thomas Tran was the team manager for TLR, and then just all of those other brands will throw on him. He can't wear three hats and t-shirts at the same time. He's gonna have to go, okay, chassis is what makes us the most money. It has the most potential and so on. So he focused on the chassis, you know, that's the biggest brand, TLR. And, you know, that's how you don't have a team manager for Proline, you don't have a team manager for AK. Yeah, the brand's going to die. And now TLR is facing that same position. So let's say Phend does end up leaving. Yeah, it doesn't look good. But we're gonna gossip about that a bit later on, because that goes more into the speculation side. We don't want to report it as news.
Absolutely. All right. So up next is something that kind of went under the radar, but a few people have brought it up to me. So we're looking at Wally's post. Nick Watlet, who's I'm going to have him on her as well. I talked about this. He says, now that the door has been officially closed and I start my new job on Monday, I'm excited to join the AMain Hobbies crew. I feel like this opportunity will take me to the goals that I would like to reach within RC industry, and on top of that, I get to continue pushing the WB brand grow into something really good, exciting for this new road ahead. So you guys might ask why that is significant. Well, I talked to Wally about this. He's going to work for AMain. He's I think he's taken over RC Planet, or like one of, like AMain has absorbed a lot of hobby shops. So it's like an online shop that does bashing and all that stuff. So that's what he's going to be in charge of. So he can still work remotely. Allows him to work when he's not physically at AMain working, which is great. I'm happy I like Wally. I want him to be working in the industry. I think we need more people like Wally in the industry, and I like that. I'm happy for him. But the bigger news to this is that longtime CEO of Associated, Sean Ireland, because I think him and Wally are good friends,
both work at AMain.
Yeah. So Sean left the CEO position at Associated to go to AMain Hobbies. Not only did he leave, but I was also told that the marketing lady, who is Rick Howard's wife, has left and gone to AMain too. Now, a lot of people might not be like, that's not a big deal, but you got to talk about, like,
I love that you called her the marketing lady. I know you don't know her name, but
I don't know her name. Somebody, I'm sure, will let me know who her name is. But that's what I heard. I heard that she left as well. So there's 3 people left. Okay, out of that crew, Wally's probably the smallest name. No offense, Wally. But for the CEO to leave and the marketing lady to go to AMain, something tells me where there's smoke, there's fire. We know that.
Yeah, and
something's going on.
Yeah. And the thing that I'm mostly interested in is that if a other company acquires a lot of people from another company at the similar time, there's obviously much more than, hey, the Associated has a lot of good people. Let's get them. It's not like that, It doesn't work like that. At least not in RC, I don't think so.
Yeah, I guess what we're hinting at is that we think that AMain might purchase Associated at some point.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too. Yeah,
AMain's the biggest. Like, AMain is going to be rivaling Horizon at some point here. Like, that's how big.
Yeah, and the thing about AMain also is that they have tried it before. They tried it with S-Works. They've tried it with other brands. They had
JQ.
Have ProTech. Yeah, they tried it with JQ and so on, but it's like, yeah, I think they want their own brands at some point,
Could be. We don't know the deal. That's just speculation, and I've heard some rumblings about it, maybe, but it just, your CEO doesn't up and leave to go get a lesser position at a company. Maybe less stress, maybe the money was right. Who knows? We don't know the deal. We could be barking up the wrong tree. Sometimes we are. That's pure speculation at that point. But it just seemed a little bit odd that those people have left to go work at AMain. Nothing wrong with it. Just seems different. All right. I think that's all we have to talk about with like actual news.
Yeah, like this is what is confirmed. We know these moves have happened, and we can confirm that they have happened. And these are totally like on the record, everybody knows about this. But, here at NNRC, we know Keenan cooks the books. So he always knows more than he suggests. So now we're going to talk about that stuff that he has, been cooking.
So now we're going to talk about the Hot Race Tires hot gossip in silly season, brought to you by Hot Race Tires and Corsa Tech USA. We greatly appreciate the support. Thank you to Nicola. Actually, Nicola wants to come on the podcast. I mean, Hot Race is involved in some of this too. We forgot to add, because Hot Race told us at the Worlds that they have a top 10 scale driver signed. So we're going to talk about that in a bit and everything. But thank you to Hot Race for all their support. We're gonna start off with Pretty Ricky Berton. I think this is so obvious. He posted this up. I love it. Thank you for playing along. This is Pretty Ricky Berton's profile picture, or he posted this up a week and a half ago.
He's changed his profile picture a week ago pretty much.
So it says BACK. So there's two hints here. Back, he used to be at Kyosho. He won a 2019 World Euros there with Kyosho. And look at that, a big K on the end. That's not suspicious at all.
Yeah.
So I think it's pretty obvious.
Yeah. And like if we needed anything more, we also have another clue.
I got it.
We have another clue that kind of, this is like the final step. So I don't know if people know Manila Kyosho, but this is like a long-term Italian Kyosho, like, I don't know, distributor or person, but they have wrote here that they have, signed a new driver for 2025. Around the same time, this is also 23rd of October, so exactly like a week ago.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, Berton's going to Kyosho. I mean, there's
no ifs, ands, and buts about it. He's going to Kyosho.
Yeah, and yes. I even actually saw Italian painter who paints for a lot of the Italian drivers posted a picture of a Kyosho body with Berton's colors on it. So
yes, and
like if you even needed many more, that's like the final nail in the coffin.
We also know at the recent Italian Nats at Ungaro 1 last weekend, he was running an S-Works car, right?
Yeah,
but that was just for one race. He's not going to S-Works. He's going to Kyosho. I think it's a great move for him. I think it's a good move for Kyosho. I think with him, Renault Savoia, and I think they'll do good. I think Pretty Ricky will do well with the Kyosho, and I get it.
Yeah, but I have to say this because this, to me, it's insane how it kind of took a full turn. Kyosho had their international team. This was like a famous thing. So Kyosho always had this international team of drivers who got paid, who was high level, and they was those were the guys who they put all effort in, and then they had their the continental team or regional team. So for example, Joao Figueiredo back in the day, obviously not anymore, but back in the day when he was starting out, and probably also Ricky when he was starting out, these guys was part of Kyosho Europe. So they got their sponsorship through Kyosho Europe. There was like this and this and this and so on. And this probably was the case for a lot of the Americans. And then if you was a top pro, Jared Tebow, Cody King, then they had Elliot Boots. Then Berton eventually graduated onto the international team. I believe Joao graduated to the international team. And these were the guys who, they had. And now we thought that was gone, Everyone was gone. Tebow was gone. America looked like there was no Kyosho drivers. Then they signed Lutz. Next thing we hear, they signed Fee. They have two very strong top three, able to finish top three at a raw national level drivers. Then they have Savoia, who's proven that he can still fight within the AMain at the Euros. Berton, who has just won I'd argue, the most prestigious event in Europe, Montpellier, apart from the Euros, obviously. And a European champion for them. So it's kind of come full circle. Like they went away, they built back up, and now they have a very sort of cost-effective top-level team in the world. They had Joao last year. They had Joao last year, sure. They had Savoia last year, sure. They both were there. But I feel like that was still kind of the old wins. Joao was kind of, he wanted something different. He joined Techno. He's doing good with them. But Ricky, he knew, he went to Infinity. He tried, didn't work for him. And now he's back to where he kind of belongs. And I'm just kind of excited because this is like a proper like structuring of the team and the way things are done. In Europe, they're running with Matrix now. In America, I think Lutz is going to leave AKA. So they will be running most likely very similar stuff and they'll be supporting each other much more. So I think this is going to be a really good thing for them. Really good thing.
Yep. I agree with you. I have nothing to say about that. All right. Up next is the next almost confirmed. These are the almost confirmed moves in Europe. We broke this on the last podcast. It's probably been the biggest rumor. Next, it's probably one of the biggest moves out there and rumors that we're hearing out there is Coelho out of X-Ray. Unconfirmed destination is Infinity. I've also heard Automatics might be a place that he goes to, but I would say at this point, I'm 90% sure that he's out at X-Ray.
Yeah.
And I'm probably 80% sure that he's going to Infinity at this point.
Yeah. I'd say like it's like 99% sure that he's leaving X-Ray and like 80% sure that he's going to Infinity. I put it like that because I'm pretty sure that he's out at X-Ray.
Yes.
But it's still up in the air if it is actually Infinity. But let's be honest here, like where else would he realistically go? Because Automatics, they have their number one driver, Mark Reinhardt. Tony Reinhardt is selling Automatics in Germany. They have put a lot of effort to the ETS. And, there's one driver famously who withdrew from ETS because of involvement of this Reinhardt family. And his name starts with a B and his last name starts with a C. And if you put that together, you know that these two won't get along, haven't got along, and like go to the extent that they skip high level events because of affiliation of the other. And yeah, there's no way you're going to have Reinhardt and Bruno on the same side. So that would mean that Automatics is going to kick out Reinhardt, stop working with, Tony Sport, and then Bruno joins them. That's not going to happen. That just isn't. So I think Infinity is kind of like the only place he could go to.
Okay. So, and then the rumor is, off the record, this has been confirmed to me that he's out at X-Ray, right? Yeah. I can't state how I heard that, but off the record, like it's been confirmed that he's off X-Ray. It seems to be inevitable. Yes, he's probably, this is the last time you'll see him in X-Ray at Florida Copper Champs. You'll see him at that next race as well. But yeah, I definitely think he's out of it. The rumor is that we know how salaries go, but this is pretty impressive if it's going to happen. The rumor is he's going to get about $13,000 a month from Infinity. Yeah, that's the number that was thrown at me. How true that is, I don't know. Yeah. But if there's any company that could pay that amount of money, it's definitely Infinity.
Yeah, and the thing is that Automatics, they are not the company, because I believe when Reinhardt got kicked out at Infinity, same time as Prumper, Martin, and I believe even Sabu left in that whole debacle. When Reinhardt left Infinity, he went to run for Automatics and ran for Automatics without any deal with Automatics, without any salary from Automatics. And I'm not sure if he actually gets paid a lot by Automatics to this day. I believe most of his salary is consistent of Coyote and of Tony Sport and all that stuff. At least for a while, he was pretty much not running any Automatics, salary program. That's what I've understood, at least. I could be wrong, but there was a time where he was getting paid by Tony Sport, not by Automatics. This day, I believe he's getting paid by Automatics, but I don't think that he's getting paid a lot. So what that leads to me that if Coelho is leaving for money, it's not going to be Automatics. I don't really buy that. So Infinity, they seem like the company that he could go to, say what he wants, win what he wants, and then get paid what he says he wants to get paid. So to me, like if he's gonna leave X-Ray, Infinity is like the only probable reason. And yeah, like there has been rumors of salary amounts, and considering where I believe those rumors are from, they could be reliable because the head of Infinity is in Italy. The people who make those signings of drivers, it's in Italy. It's like Kenji is just the owner, but the organization is in Italy. And those rumors came at this time of Reg GP which was in Italy. And you know.
Yeah. Let's check this out though. So if Coelho out, you know who bumps up to number one driver? Ronafal.
Yeah.
It didn't take long. It's same thing happened at HB. He went to HB, bumped Tyson out of the number one spot.
Yeah.
Goes to X-Ray, bumps Coelho out. I don't think he bumps him, but now
I
becomes
think
Ronafal's going to be that guy on the right there on the center, right where they always have that picture where Coelho was.
Yeah,
that's going to be Ronafal now. He's going to have to do more touring car, but at the same time, I don't know how this pay structure all works between X-Ray America and X-Ray, but this frees up budget for what we talked about on show a couple of shows ago with Phend testing the X-Ray with Ciccarello, Phend going to X-Ray. But we're going to touch on that because that's not a confirmed or almost confirmed. That's a hot gossip. We're going to talk about Phend possibly going to X-Ray later on. All right? So don't geek out yet, Max. Got your promise on that?
Yep.
All right. Up next, almost confirmed moves in the USA. This came out yesterday. New TZO factory driver. Here we go. Soon to be announced our new factory driver for the 2025 season. And we're stoked for this one. TZO has been studying to make 2025 our best year. Stay tuned for our latest drops coming on the site as well. So I do know that TZO is coming up.
Can I now take it over? You want to say something?
No, because I see that you figured out the answer to this already. Mm-hmm. Okay. But I want our listeners, I want to see how much our listeners are listening and paying attention to this. Let's see how really good these silly season sleuths are, or pseudo silly season sleuths are, you know? So this driver is an up-and-coming driver. He's had a lot of hype around him. We've talked about him a lot on this podcast. And we all say the same thing, that he has to do more races. That's all the clue I'm going to give you. I think it's a good move for them, TZO. I also heard that he's going to be doing 10 scale as well. Right? And a lot of people are waiting for this driver to start really performing on a pro stage and go into other races outside of his home domain. That's all I'm going to say. Max, I know you have the answer because I saw it there. Now you can give me, if you can give me the reasons why you thought you knew that without releasing any more clues, then you can go ahead.
Well, okay, bring up the photo.
Okay.
and zoom in here, okay?
All right, now I look at the photo. I don't know if I can zoom in on Instagram.
Okay.
I cannot.
Okay. But you have that photo, okay? So it's not like it's not like a very skinny guy, it's kind of a short guy. He's holding 2 trophies. Then it's most likely someone from the California area. If you look at those.
Any clues, Max? You're giving away too many clues. Shush.
No, but I'm just telling how I got this answer, okay?
But we don't know if he's from California, do we?
Well, it's TZO. They live in California. They live and breathe California. Okay, you look at those cars. Looks like very angled bodies. You know, what car has something like that? So I'm not looking for a very, very skinny guy. I'm not looking for, you know, it doesn't look like a techno car. You know, it doesn't look like a techno car.
Here's another hint. What 10 scale brand needs a 10 scale driver at this moment?
Yeah.
All right. So in the USA.
And all I did was I was Googling this driver that I had an idea of, and I found this picture that they have used. And
you can't use this picture.
Yeah, but I mean, like, it wasn't that hard, Keenan. And you know, before we start, I want this is for the viewers.
But it's not for you to figure out. It's for the audience to figure out.
I'm not going to tell it who it is, but I just have to say this. Before we started this podcast, Keenan said, I heard who TZO is going to sign. And then I was like, okay, who? And he's like, I'm not going to tell you. You have to figure it out yourself. You know, it took me about 5 minutes to figure it out. Okay. And he's here cooking the book, saying he's the silly season king, blah, blah, blah. I figured it out straight away. Okay. Yeah.
With that said, though,
Can I
with
say
that
what brand the fuel can is there in the middle?
no, I think people's going to figure it out now after you've pointed out all the obvious. Figure it out. Let us know in the comments who you think is going to go to TZO and what you think about that. Simple
Yeah,
as that.
I cannot even say which brand tire he runs now because nobody runs those.
Oh, that's another clue. All right, but I did also hear that Cole is out at TZO.
Yeah, so that's something. So I was imagining the other way around. I was thinking Cole's gonna stay Cavs out, but then I
Me
went to
too.
look at went to look at TZO's Instagram, and I see that he's pretty much Nick's been testing with Cav like all the time, and like Cole has been kind of like a bit off from RC altogether, and Cole is on the East Coast. It does
We have
make
some
sense.
news about Cole.
Yeah,
Let's move on to Cav. So
Okay.
we all thought that the 10 scale driver that Hot Race was going to sign was Cavallari.
Exactly.
No, it could
yeah.
still be. It could still be. But I saw the same thing you saw. Cav testing TZO tires at Revelation. And some eagle-eyed silly season sleuth sent me that video and a blown up picture of the car that he was driving and said, that's not a Sparko. So I have heard the rumor is through the grapevine that Cav is out at Sparko. I heard Cav's out at Sparko. Tyler Jones is staying at Sparko. And I heard that Cole Ogden is joining Sparko next year. But before we get into Cole Ogden, let's talk about Cav real quick. So Cav not been the best in 8 scale this year. Has not really performed with the Sparko too tough, but has still, people would say he's getting beaten 10 scale, but he's still top 5, top 10, making finals in 10 scale.
He went the world's AMain. I think that's good. I think next year's world's final is going to be sort of the determining factor is if he's still a factor in 10 scale.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there was some race. Was it Wicked Weekend? There was some race.
He finished 5th with WRC, but that was last year.
Yeah, that was last year. There was some race this year where he did okay, and you said, "Oh, Cav's back." Was it the Roar Nats? It was the Roar Nats.
Yes,
he did decent at Roar Nats, and you said Cav's back. But okay, let me just say this: Ryan Cavallari. I have to say this again. I said this once already. Ryan Cavallari beat JQ, retired JQ, who has not ran 8 scale before the Worlds. I think it was the 40 plus Euros. And before then, it was like AMS, So he's run an 8 scale RC car at AMS, 40 plus Euros at Worlds in the past 12 months, okay? And he came within 4 or 5 positions of Ryan Cavallari at the World Championships. Okay, so and you can say, oh, he used hot race tires at the Worlds. Okay, from start to finish, he used hot race tires at the Worlds. That's because TZO doesn't have those compounds yet that can work in those conditions. That's not like news to anyone. But he was running hot race tires from start to beginning, as the start to end. We know this. This is all like, there's pictures on the internet and so on. And that's also one reason why I thought it was going to be a hot race. And so there's no excuse. Okay, he had our Nova engine. So did so many other guys, like Yosemite Chances, who almost made the semi until he got a penalty. There's no excuse for him. And my argument still is he should retire from 8 scale. He should put the boots up, return your knives and leave, pack your knives and go for 8 scale. And he just solely focused on 10 scale. So what Ryan Mayfield did is he won the 10 scale Worlds and quit. Okay. And now he wants that 8 scale title. Okay. Ryan Cavallari, on the other hand, he didn't win an 8 scale title. And it's tough to break it to him, but he never will. Okay, it's done. He's not going to win an 8 scale world title. Okay, But what he can still do is keep his job as an RC driver if he does well enough in 10 scale.
Yeah, but he needs an 8 scale paycheck. He needs that 8 scale paycheck, and like Mayfield said, he's going back to race some 10 scale because he wants to get paid more and he wants to do some more 10 scale. So at this point, Cavallari is going wherever is going to pay him. And there's so many wild rumors out there. Mayako back to TLR. He was testing this. He was testing that. I've even heard a Serpent thrown out there because I heard they have a new car. That's how crazy it is. But Serpent has some weight because I remember when the rumor was he was going to come to JQ Racing back in 2018. Serpent was a contender, but Serpent hasn't been around in 8 scale. Riley has a really good car now, but hasn't been around in 8 scale racing for quite some time.
They have been around in Europe, but it's not like they're not like they're really big in Sweden. I don't know why.
Yeah, I know.
They're really big in Sweden.
I know. I don't understand that. But there's so many cars, like brands out there being thrown around. Yet I think he stays with Schumacher, but I think it's just looking for that. He needs that 8 scale paycheck. And people's like, well, Cav's done. He still has pedigree. He's still Cavallari. I think he still earned a right to have an 8 scale program. And you never count him out. Like, when he went to WRC, he made that 5th. He made the Nationals. Okay, he didn't make the World Mains. A lot of Americans didn't make the World Mains. Okay?
Well, okay. So, Keenan. No, don't.
No, we can't. Like we only got 30 minutes left. We only got 30 minutes left, so we have to move on.
You can't say that, he didn't make the World Mains like Mayfield. No, he didn't even make the World's Main Day. Okay? He didn't make the World's Main Day.
Hey,
okay?
Did you see him get taken out? Who took him out?
Oh yeah, he got taken out at the
I think it was
1042 main. Keenan, don't try to defend him.
Hey, put some respect on Cav's name, okay?
No, if you lose to retired JQ, almost lose to retired JQ, like, dude, that's it. That's it. You know, like I'm not like, dude. Like if you're getting beat by almost retired, if you're getting almost beat by retired JQ, like you cannot confidently say that, I'm a professional driver and I have earned it, you know?
Oh my God. Oh, Max, you know what? We're going to move on from that because you're just living in. Yes, he lost. Everybody has off days. JQ might have had a good day. JQ shouldn't have been so far. Hey, the GOAT, Cav, right? Put some 30 plus national titles, 4 Reedy titles, 4 world championships. A Neo win. Guy's got pedigree. He's going to get an 8 scale company to pay him, right? And that's it. Yeah, that's what he's looking for.
He shouldn't.
Hey, you know what? In the comments of this podcast, whether you're watching it, YouTube, or listening to it, what do you think? Where do you think Cav's going? What company do you think is going? Or should he be retired from 8 scale like Max says? Now, we're going to move on because the next person I'm going to talk about we thought was retiring, and that is Cole Ogden. I'm going to be honest. After his performances over the last year, you would think that he was going to be retiring because he just had probably the worst year of his career. Like, not making A finals.
Still a lot better than Cavallari, though.
Oh, my gosh.
I'm not letting this one go, dude.
Oh, my gosh. Anyway, we're moving on. Cole Ogden, rumored to be, not rumored, I'm pretty much confirmed that he has, joining Sparko. I kind of saw this at Georgia Peach State Classic.
Was he running that car?
No, he wasn't there. He wasn't there. Cole has been different. Like, he's been different. He's been running after HB. I think the thing with HB took a lot out of Cole emotionally and mentally. And he's kind of
money too.
That too. Fuck. But he's kind of, he hasn't had a very good year. He hasn't looked like he's been all the way there. He put up a message like, I'm not ready to go yet. I'm ready to go. Can this be a second life for Cole Ogden? Absolutely. Does he have the talent to do well and compete out there on an international level? Absolutely, he does. Right? I believe he still has that talent. He's still about 30 or something like that. We've said it over and over again. He has to stop partying and focus, right? Maybe he's one of them drivers who needs to party to relieve the stress. I don't know. Cole Ogden to Sparko. I'm going to say something that's going to piss off Sparko fans. I think the spark has gone out of Sparko. It had a great spark from the start, and it's kind of fizzled her at the end.
Yeah,
Tyler Jones has still been their best driver.
That's what I was gonna say next. That when Tyler Jones, he was last year at that was Peach State. Yeah, it was Peach State last year at Peach State. Tyler Jones came in there with a Sparko, completely. Well, I don't want to say dominated, but confidently won that event. This year he was TQ at some race. I can't remember now. Was it
SIC, he TQ'd.
SIC?
Yeah, he
He
was very
TQ'd
fast.
around. Then Wicked Weekend, was it this year? Wicked
No,
Weekend he did well. Some race this year
I think
he
it was
did
last
well.
year.
Could be last year too. But either way, since he joined Sparko, it kind of looked like he had revamp. Oh yeah, but Wicked Weekend last year he ran a Mugen. That's what I'm getting confused of. But since he joined Sparko, that
No,
Peach
Wicked
State
Weekend,
win,
he had Agama and Mugen.
yeah, E-Buggy for Agama and then Nitro for Mugen. But yeah, since he joined Sparko, that Peach State win, good results at SIC, good results here and there. He hasn't been going to a lot of races, but every
Part-time
time
racer.
he's there, every time he's gone, he's been looking pretty good. That's something that I think has revitalized his like promise. Because when he was at Agama, I was like, okay, this guy's done. Like he had to go from techno to what did he have before?
He
Went
was
to
a
some.
TLR tech. He was TLR Agama Techno back to Agama.
Yeah, okay, yeah, exactly. So yeah, that Agama stint was like a final kind of maybe a chance for him. It didn't go well. Then that kind of Sparkle run with the recent times, that's like, okay, this guy can still do it. It's not like he's slow. It's not like he sucks. He could still do it. He just needs to have it together. But I think the issue that Sparkle made, that they kind of put all of their eggs in one basket, which starts with an R and the last name starts with a C. And that basket had a lot of holes in the bottom. And I think that has really kind of killed them a lot in that sort of momentum they had in America. In Europe, they never took off at any point. In Asia, they seem to be doing okay.
In Taiwan.
In Taiwan for sure, but in Asia they seem to be having cars at events. But in Europe, I have not really
Nothing. I haven't seen
not
none.
not, not really seen Sparko a
But
lot.
let's refocus. Let's recenter. Cole Ogden to Sparko. Your thoughts on this move?
And that's exactly where I was going to go next. And at the beginning, you remember when Sparko started to take off, we was like, okay. Even Kate said this, that all of the guys who ran HB either went to S-Works or Sparko. And I think now that the last stalwart of HB being Cole Ogden has finally chosen his new home at Sparko, allegedly, because we don't know for sure yet, it's not confirmed. But if he does that, that's kind of like the nail in the coffin. If you was an HB driver and you was like, okay, HB is good, and we had these guys, and you're still like, yeah, HP is the thing, not Sparko, not S-Works. Like everyone has moved to other brands. Even like Pavides went to Sparko. Sure, he's now out of Sparko, but it's like I think it's done. Like HP in America, it's like
we're not talking about
replaced.
HP. We're talking about Sparko. Focus.
Yeah, but
focus.
I know, but that's what I'm saying. Now that space that HP had, I think now kind of belongs to Sparko. They are the one non-Mayako or Kyosho C-Hub car. Okay, TLR. But like, apart from those others, they are that brand. Cole can still be competitive. I think that car will suit him really well. And if Cav's out, they don't really have a guy who should be doing well, not doing well. And they most likely won't have to pay anyone as much as they had to pay Cav. So I think this is kind of the try number 2, and I think it's going to be more successful than try number 1. But I still don't see like anything that could take them over the other brands. Like that, because the thing that had in the beginning, oh, it has a transponder mount. Like that thing, that's not enough anymore. They have to.
Yeah. I would agree. I think that Cole goes there. It's a second breath on life. It's his last chance. He still has the talent to do well, but I think he has to do well. Like it's no ifs, ands, or buts about this time. There's no more C mains. There might be occasional where he might be a C main and all that stuff. If I'm pretty much sure that he's out at TZO, not sure what tire he's gonna go. If he goes for the money,
that's what I was interested. Like
if he goes for the money, he's gonna have to go for a very inferior brand. He probably won't come back to hot race, huh?
ProMotion? Is it because isn't ProMotion and JT kind of one and the same?
Jetco is bought in by Sparko too.
But okay, Jetco.
You get where I'm going here. Don't get me wrong. He is also from North Georgia. Peach State brings in Ogo. The Ogo tires do very well there in Southeast. They're looking for a big time driver too. So that could be a move right there.
But what about ProMotion? If isn't JT and ProMotion? Am I tripping here?
Yeah. JT is ProMotion.
Because
Tyler
he like pretty
could be
much
an option too.
Yeah, I think pretty much. If you look at what has he been doing, like since he's left from HB, and it's pretty much like everything he posts is JT. There's pretty much nothing else than JT and Ultimate.
Could be.
Pro Circuit is also one option.
Yes.
He ran them at the Worlds, but then he ended up switching to Hot Race.
I heard they're making a push too, so that could be an option as well. And when I shouldn't say inferior tire brands, lesser known tire brands. Yeah. That's about a Pro Circuit's good catch. That could be it.
I think, it's to me. There's two options, realistic ones, unless he goes pretty much privateer or like not getting paid at all and maybe getting free product. I think the two options are Pro Circuit and ProMotion.
Well, it also combines because he's ultimate brand Pro Circuit, and the Pro Circuit needs a top driver to start pushing in that Southeast area. Yeah. So I think in the short term, good for Sparko, good for whatever brand he goes on, tire wise, but he has going to have to perform, and this is it. He ain't got to win. Win will be great, but he's got to be in those finals. All right. I want to move on. We don't know, like I said, we talked about hot race. We don't know what's going to happen now. It's going to be funny. I know you got time. We got 15 minutes, Max. You've been going on too much, and you're the one who put the time limit on this because you got to go. We need to really get into some of the big players. The next step of this is going to be some news. People's going to be shocked at this. But big player most likely out from a few brands. All right, so we're going to start off. I actually got told off for this by somebody who said I'm defending Mayako by not talking about this. No, I didn't know about this till that person pretty much told me about this. But Robert is out at Mayako. And the rumor is, or very strong rumor, and I think it's true, is that he's off to S-Works to do like team manager, international, world, European, and USA team manager, and all that type of stuff.
Basically, what he did at Mayako, he's going to do at S-Works.
Now, I just want to touch on this real quick. Why I think people are like, this looks bad for Mayako. It is bad for Mayako because Robert was very good for Mayako. He did a lot of work for Mayako. He brought in a lot of drivers, and when he goes, he's going to take a lot of drivers. Because a lot of people follow him. Why do you why do I think Robert went to S-Works? Well, S-Works approached him when he left Mugen, right? S-Works is got money. It has the best thing to get to stability in RC right now. It ain't gonna, they can get things done very fast as a manufacturer behind them. Like the guy Max Zonata, the owner, is really into this. Like he's not just a guy who has money and said, they don't seem to be very stupid with the money from what I'm told. Big team, cars already won, it's gaining popularity, and he probably gets a pretty decent wage, right? And it's easier for me, whereas we're going to get into this, where Mayako's business plan goes against the grain in RC, S-Works doesn't. And also a big factor in this is, just like any one of us, you don't know this yet because you haven't had one. Well, once Robert just had a baby. He's got a baby to look after. And he's got a wife to look after. And Robert Battier, has deserved. He's one of the drivers in RC that's always been on the business side of things.
Yeah.
if I'm Robert, I'm making this decision too, right? I'm going to S-Works where I get a better paycheck, stability, and probably less headaches to an extent. Yes, there's going to be headaches, but let's be honest. Mayako is not the easiest sell in the world. Simple as that. So Robert out at Mayako, in with S-Works. I think it's a great move for him. I think it's a great move for S-Works. It's gonna be a good thing because I actually think Tim Lai might kind of be backing off because I know he's had some health issues. So I think he's got a full-time job as an air conditioner. You know, I'm sure he'll still be involved, but you know,
I think
look, it's like, look, I get it. You know, he did a lot for Mayako, but man, it's a lot of work, man. It's a lot of fucking work doing that stuff, right?
Yeah.
And he's got 36 Mood, he's got Hot Race. You know, he's probably making more money from Hot Race and 36 Mood than he is from Mayako, you know, and now S-Works already an established brand. I think it's a no-brainer for
okay,
Robert.
let me say this go. Robert left Mugen in the end. Well, he wasn't getting paid a lot by Mugen and nobody was. And that was the time where MX kind of collapsed. You remember that time? He was getting a big paycheck for them. Then it was kind of like Robert was looking for something else than Mugen because he wanted to have a future. You know, with Mugen, he most likely wasn't going to have any big future because, you know, he was a driver for them. Sure, he did some team management roles, but that's not the type of brand that Mugen is, you know. And that's why I mean, I don't know this for a fact, but I'm very, very confident that before even he made the choice to leave Mugen as the final choice, he knew what his destination was, and it was Mayako. So he left Mugen to go to Mayako, you know, and that for a good reason, because he wanted to build something with Mayako and have a good thing sort of that he has built himself with someone. And that was also the whole plan with Thibaut. If people don't know that, he got kicked out of Techno and he himself wanted to join Mayako, not the other way around. And the only condition that Thibaut was to join Mayako was that he would become a team manager and not a driver. So from the beginning on, for Thibaut and for Robert, it was that, hey, you can drive if you want, but your number one role is to be a team manager, you know? And this was the same for Thibaut and Robert. Obviously, for Robert, it was kind of like Mayako wanted him. For Thibaut, it was like he wanted something and Mayako was an option. And now focusing on Robert's case specifically, last year at the Euros, S-Works approached him. Even when he left Mugen, S-Works approached him. And I remember last year at the Euros, he was invited for a meeting by S-Works. And pretty much what they told Robert was, if you want to do something, you want a tent, you want a car, you want this, you want that, we're going to give it to you. And we're going to pay you double what you get paid at Mayako. That was pretty much the offer. And last year, Robert said no. Okay.
Yeah.
He said no. He had already worked with JQ for a year. He knew what it was. And he said no because he believed in the project and so on. This year, though, because I've been talking with Robert about setup and stuff and so on. And, you know, I was at the Worlds. And the thing is that he seems much more like busy with life, and I think the reason is obvious. He has a newborn child. So I think that's what changed. He wanted more security. With Mayako, like you had to work for what you get still because it's a new business and it's a growing concept. And now he made the world AMain with Mayako. He was a driver and he was a team manager and he was also in charge of everything around the world because Thibaut wasn't a part of Mayako anymore. So S-Works now seems like the obvious choice, whereas last year he still didn't know what it was like to have a kid, so it wasn't that obvious. But this year I think he's realized that
I agree with you. And peace of mind.
It's a peace of mind because, like, the thing is, sure, with S-Works, can he make as big of a difference as he can with Mayako? Most likely not. But he doesn't go to S-Works to make a difference. He goes to S-Works to get a steady paycheck. He can screw up and S-Works will still be fine. Whereas in Mayako, if he really screws up, Mayako won't be fine. But
Yeah,
if he does
I
a
agree
bad
with you.
job at S-Works, he will still most likely have a job because he will be in charge of the whole Spanish-speaking community. But I think with Maya and Neumann do really good job in the German-speaking section and the Eastern European section of S-Works.
Right. But I'm sure there's still going to be people like that. Look,
Yeah.
I think it's a no-brainer for Robert, and I think that exactly. Baby comes along, life changes. I know. I had a kid, and my life stayed the same when I had my first kid. But when my second child came out, life changed. Until you have a child, you don't know what that means. Let's talk about what the effects of this is on Mayako. It looks bad. It looks fucking very bad. And I'm not going to sugarcoat this shit. He's gonna take drivers. People are gonna follow him.
Yeah.
You can count out. I think the Latin American market is gone. That they had.
I
That's
don't
going to
think
go to S-Works.
I don't think it's gone, but I think like some
It
of
will
it is
go.
gone.
It will go. The Spanish market is gone. Some of the European market is gone, and I wouldn't be surprised if some of the USA market follows. Now, I'm gonna because I got accused of going. I got accused of being a Mayako favorite. I know you got to go. I told you don't do the notes so long. You didn't listen. We had to go.
No,
it's gonna go deep.
I gotta leave. Like we have time. We're good. Okay. But
we're almost done. We're almost done.
Yeah.
I have said this from day one. Now, with that said, no, hold on. Before I get into that said, on JQ's last live last week, he said he has some exciting news coming. I don't know what that is. I don't know if it has anything to do with invisible speed. I don't know if it has anything to do with Mayako. But I know that he actively wants to get a top USA driver. I think at this point with Mayako, they kind of have to, I don't know what they do, to be honest, man. I still think that they need an overall team manager that's going to do this full time, mostly based in America. I'm not saying that the guys that are doing it currently aren't doing a good job, but doing a team manager job properly requires two things: lots of time and a decent paycheck, right? Because it's a lot of work. It's a lot of stress. Even if they got a top driver, they still need somebody to manage it. Look, if the only person that I think that would be a good fit at Mayako for them right now, two people that I can think of that would be a good fit for them in America. You know who they are? Ryan Lutz and Little Bump.
Yeah, but they aren't leaving.
That's the only two people I think that could make a difference. I don't even think hiring Ryan Mayfield would make a difference. It would, and a little bit, but you need that longevity of. Yes, okay. If Ryan Mayfield gets out there and starts winning, yes, but I still think Lutz, because in my brain I have Lutz as a driver / manager to an extent. You know, maybe he doesn't go to every race. Maybe he just manages more from him. I don't know, because a lot of things done. I don't know. You know more about Mayako than me, but I'm honestly, from a person looking from the outside, I'm giving you my opinion from a person looking from the outside in. It's gonna look bad. Like you had David Ronnefalk come, Tebow come, and now Roberts going. It looks bad for Mayako.
Yeah, and okay. Let me kind of.
Let's not spend 20 minutes explaining Mayako either,
but
because we have to get into TLR and all that stuff.
Yeah, but let me tell you what the mistakes have been. Okay, like I am involved with Mayako, but I don't really know anything what's happening behind the scenes. I know what the car is, and I make suggestions, and I work with the community. That's pretty much what I do. But I'm just as out of the loop as pretty much. I think you probably know more than me about what happens behind the scenes in Mayako. But I know what happens like on the surface. And I know what has gone wrong. And I think I can like explain it sort of briefly. So the concept of Mayako is to have a brand that is built for the customers by offering a product that is specified to them, and it's not in quantity or the team or the exposure, but it's that you're offering something that is different from others in a way that gives you more value as the product is. And that is the specialization and the ability to improve the product but through the community. That has been the key thing about Mayako from the beginning, and that's why it seems like a very interesting project to those who are very loyal to Mayako, those customers or members most likely that are very loyal to Mayako. And this is something that even Joseph has very deeply misunderstood from what he's doing. He made this sort of idea of having this car. He kind of had this concept also. He kind of made this concept as well, but he has never kind of taken charge of that concept because there's other people who do that. Now the issue is that everyone from the beginning has worked as if this was not the concept. We had Ronnefolk, we had Barrier, we had Thibaut. The idea was we have team managers, but we don't have a team. What team? Like, we don't have a team to manage. We have a community to manage. Okay? We have a product to develop. We have a community to develop that product. The issue of what's not working is not like, oh, these guys leave. Optically, it's very bad because it hasn't been worked in a way, because you hire all these guys, it looks like you're trying to have a team to win, and then all these guys leave and you don't win. So it looks like just another brand, right? But the concept is alive somewhere in there, but it's just not utilized. And I think that's the main issue with Mayako, that you try to make it look like just another brand, but say that it's just another brand. And that doesn't work. You have to make it obvious that it's not like any other brand. And then you can maybe have a driver if it does well. And I think that was kind of the issue, because it was too much too early. You had Ronnefolk, that was the idea from the beginning. The idea was actually not to have Ronnefolk at the beginning. The idea was have Ronnefolk 2 years after, okay? And then after that, you might have a team manager in Europe and in America. Thibaut was kind of a chance that it just happened that he wanted to join Mayako. Robert seemed like a good option because his little brother was already in driving Mayako, and it was like it seemed like a good timing. But through that, the sort of core issue of Mayako had been a bit lost. And I think this is kind of now where sort of a wake-up call for everyone who's involved in Mayako, that this is not actually what we're doing here. We're doing something completely else, which is building a community that builds a product, not having a few people who builds a product for a community and then tells them about it. And that's the issue, because you have to have personnel to be in charge of the community, but you have to have those personnel be only in charge of that community, not being a driver and a team manager and a car tester and so on and so on. And I think that's the real downfall of what's happened now. Obviously, it looks really bad, but I think it's still, the concept's still there. The product is good, so nothing is kind of like lost on it. And that's
my opinion.
Take on
and it. You want my opinion, and I'm gonna leave it at that. A few podcasts ago, maybe a couple of months ago, we had a argument about presence and going to races and all that stuff. I still think that's needed. It's easier said than done to paint all RC with one brush and say this is what we should do.
Yeah.
Okay. When I was working as the JQ team manager, USA was very easy for me to be a part of and grow there. So was Latin America. What I did in the USA did not transfer over to Europe.
Yeah.
Get it? While I get what you're saying, the core people at the very beginning, that's what they want and all that type of stuff. I think it's very difficult to paint one whole business plan over a worldwide team. And you want my honest opinion? I think that's where Mayako was very like a horse with blinders on. I think that each region, and America being one of the biggest regions in RC racing in the world, each region has to be treated differently and adapted to certain things. Now, I don't know what you guys adapted over there in America and all that type of stuff, but in my opinion, it has not worked. Because listen, I'm not finished. I let you talk. Let me talk. It has not worked. It started to, and this is no offense to the Mayako drivers or anybody that's running it, but we've lost people in Mayako that used to go to these events that were good, decent drivers. You know, the presence of Mayako is completely diminished at some of these bigger races, and optics mean a lot. And people that want to join these teams go to these races to promote their brands and make people want to be a part of that. And I think one of the biggest problems with Mayako, and I don't want to get in a debate because I want to wrap this up and get to TLR. And this is my opinion. You're not going to change my mind on this because I'm speaking from a person that's looking from the outside in. Is that I think the biggest mistake with Mayako is painting the entire community with a brush. Not with one big brush and telling everybody to get onto that. It's not going to work. And I think another issue is JQ's refusal to listen as well.
That is
we can talk about the breaks because the breaks is the biggest thing. When I saw his 3 top drivers tell him that he needs to do something to brakes, and he just said, "No, you guys are idiots. You guys know how to set them." And to this day, you're still having that same argument. Then you're not listening to your base.
Yeah.
And that's just my thought. I think that I like JQ, but I think all his relationships end up the same way.
Yeah. But let me say a quick thing, because I think the issue is that what I tried to say is that Mayako has tried to paint the community with one brush, yes, but the core, the business model, you need to attract people who like the same things, and that's kind of what you should do. But instead, Mayako has attracted so wide range, and then people who join are not like within that range. And I think that's the issue, because if you want to do this thing properly, you have to attract those people who want these things. You cannot do like something for someone and think it will work, you know?
Yeah, but you know what? Money is money, and you have to make money to survive. And you have to be versatile. You have to be versatile. And hey, man, you're going against the grain. You're going against an industry where people expect discounts and not to pay for, you're going against the grain. Fundamentally, I agree that we need to change things in RC and all that type of stuff. But it's going to take a group as a whole. And if
exactly, that's the goal.
But it's not going to happen.
Find that
it's
group.
not going to happen.
You don't think that group exists in RC?
No, I don't.
You don't think there are?
I don't think it's big enough.
You think okay? So
I don't think it's big enough.
You think that group of people isn't big enough?
No, I don't.
Really,
I don't. I don't think it's big enough to sustain a business like that, because we're in an industry where a person can be racing for 2 fucking months just to discover RC and races at a local track and get a fucking sponsor and get 50% off. It's not even about the money to most people. It's about the fucking thought of having a discount. Yes, I'm sure it helps some people, but let's be honest. How much does 50% off? Like, let's look at a kit. Most of these companies work out like a 50 off deal is working out where you save $50, $60, maybe $100. Right? I know there's some better deals out there, but what Mayako is saying is, hey, you join a member, you pay for a membership, and I get it. It's like Costco. It's like like Costco's a big giant supermarket where you pay a membership to go in there and buy things by bulk, right? It's very similar. But I don't think we're the only one in the industry. Mayako is the only one in the industry doing it, and I think that everybody else in the industry is just. It's the minority, man. It's the minority.
No, but okay.
That's just my thoughts. That's my opinion, man.
Yeah. But
I kind of want to move on from it.
Yeah, I know. But the theory behind it is that you have all of these guys who sign up for a sponsorship and quit within 6 months. These guys pay a kit or two. They spend maybe $1,000 on your company. You make a profit of, let's say, 300. Okay. But instead, you can find someone who's really into RC, who gets something a lot from RC, doesn't give in to the sponsorship thing he wants. He likes the product to be something he likes.
You're preaching to the choir, Max.
Okay, yeah, exactly. But you find this person, instead of $1,000, he spends maybe 10 grand for his hobby. Okay?
It's not enough.
No, but
it's not enough people out there to do that.
Listen, Keenan, you need to find 10 of these people who spend $1,000. Or one person who spends 10 grand, okay? And you target that audience who loves this sport so much, and you give them a product and the ability to be part of a community who think like these people, who are able to put more time and money into this, and that's how you make it.
Sounds great on paper, but it's not gonna. It's just not sustainable. And my thoughts.
Well, you don't know.
That's just my thoughts.
Yeah,
that's just my opinion.
Yeah, but
you're talking to a person that extensively travels to these races.
Sure, but
and you goes to various different communities. And you're talking to a person that saw a brand that had a very big going. You go to these races, you see Mayako tents everywhere. You see people run them. Where you go and there's burly.
That was the mistake. No, you shouldn't have done that.
Guess what? I bet you were selling more Mayakos then than you were now.
Probably, but then again, people were selling their Mayakos more than they're now.
Guess what, Max? That we're already in a very small pool of people, and I get what you're saying. Fundamentally, I understand what you're saying, but realistically, and in the whole big scheme of things, it's fucking difficult. It hasn't really taken off in Europe. It hasn't really taken off in America. It probably took off more in America than it did Europe.
No, but that's not the goal.
I think that
it's not supposed to take off.
Well, I don't know what the fuck that. Our goal is not to make money. Okay.
No, the goal is to make money, but the goal is not to be the brand who spends most money and spends most money on marketing.
But how are you going to pay for a top driver?
Why do you need a top driver?
Well, that's what JQ wants. He wants a top driver.
Yeah, but JQ doesn't understand this concept. That's my point as well.
No, listen. It's the same people who would say that TLR doesn't need a top driver. Of course you need a top driver, Max. You're a racing company.
No, but TLR... No. Okay, but TLR has not...
You're not there to win?
TLR has not brought a new tool drive in, 5 years? Mayako brings a new car every single year.
It don't matter. You know why?
It does.
Listen. It doesn't matter. Listen, when I was with JQ Racing, you know what the biggest problem was? You know what the biggest issue was? Remember that year we went to P&B? Listen, remember that year we went to P&B and we had all those people there? Yeah. And all hopes were on you. And you and I got in that big argument over Truggy. Why you didn't run it? And I said you have to run it because these people are looking up to you. That's going to be the problem with Mayako. When it goes to these races and it has nobody to cheer on, there's people in the community will feel that. Trust me. Okay. Deep down, nobody will admit it. But these people, you're a racing company. The point is to go out there, race, and compete against the best. If you don't have a horse in that race, then you are behind. You're just not a racing company anymore. You're a racing. You're not. Listen, it was the biggest thing we had. But the same thing that saved JQ when we was a little smaller was JQ was still somewhat competitive. Look at you. You saved JQ Race in 2018 at the DNC.
Yeah, but Keenan, you're missing the point.
No, you're missing my point. You said you don't need see, we're gonna get in a fucking argument, and I don't want to get in the argument right now. This is the same argument that we had about you not needing a fucking presence at the races. You do. You're a race team. Your point is to go out there and show that you're the point is for me, I'm a Mayako guy.
That was never the point of Mayako.
Of course it is.
No, it wasn't.
Then why sign Runnerfolk? What did you sign Runnerfolk for as a driver?
Because Joseph doesn't understand the concept.
Because he could win. You need somebody that can go out there and take your product and win.
No, you don't.
Oh, fuck me.
Does Mugen need someone like that? You know what?
I'm not even going to get in this argument.
Okay, Keenan.
I'm not going to change your mind, and you're not going to change my mind.
Did Mugen make more or less money after making
Mugen has legacy.
Exactly. Mayako
has no legacy. Mayako has no legacy.
Okay, but Mayako has something else to offer to the community.
But nobody wants that, Max. People want people that are going to... No, they don't. Not enough to sustain it.
Why do people want a Mugen?
If that was the case, then Mayako will be rolling the money right now, and they ain't. No, if that was the case, then Mayako could have offered Robert more money to stay.
Okay.
No, what you're saying is good on paper, but it's not. Like you're going against. You want to be a race team, right? Look, so then the 7th place that Robert got at the Worlds means nothing. Nothing at all.
Exactly.
Of course it means something.
No,
of course it means something.
Okay, who remembers that Robert finished 7th at the Worlds in 2 years?
Well, tell me the last time a fucking car that JQ designed made a world championship. David Runnerfolk and this last one.
Okay, but
if you're
who else remembers than you?
Listen, and then you would say, You can't use Mugen as an example, man.
You're
Mugen is
emotional.
a
Like
legacy
you and
brand.
JQ have the same issue. You think about
No,
emotion and this like thing. No, it's simple mathematics. You know, that's what it is.
well, I guarantee you, if you took a poll in the Mayako NPC and they would say they want a top driver, because that's all I heard.
Okay. Let's
That's
put it
all
this
I
way.
hear.
If I took a poll in the NPC and said, would you like worse products for the next 3 years or better products and more involvement and a top driver?
But guess what? You had a top driver, and you didn't have you only have Robert this year. But guess what?
Exactly.
You still got issues with it.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying.
Max, you're not making no sense.
I am.
And you can't compare Mayako to Mugen.
Yes, I can.
Because then you're not a race team. You are not a racing brand. You're a brand
that is not a racing brand. It's
well,
not
why are you racing RC cars? I know JQ's gonna listen to this and fuck me off, but he knows that, and the people, I guarantee you that 90% of the people that run Mayako want a top driver to cheer on at these races.
Okay, Keenan,
That's why. Hold on. Why did you see an influx of people joining the brand when Tebow ran in America? Because they had somebody to cheer on.
Yeah, but those people left immediately when Tebow left, and I bet none of those people made more money to Mayako than the Tebow cost. Right?
But that's the gamble. That's what you have, and you have one. I'm not disputing that.
Yeah, so you make less money.
They also left for other reasons. You know what? They did. I know people that literally left because of other reasons. My point is, Max, you can't. I get what you're saying with Mugen, but Mugen also has fucking Drake, right? Who's a stalwart, who's a fucking superstar in RC, one of the biggest people. They also have multiple world champions.
Subscribers in YouTube than Drake.
Huh?
JQ has more subscribers on YouTube than Drake.
Yeah, but guess what? Who is number one of the guys that people respect in the industry? Adam Drake. What do people think of JQ on a general basis?
But who thinks Drake is better at setup than JQ? Very few people. Very, very few people.
This is true, but you're dealing with a boot. It isn't about.
Keenan, we have to skip TLR because I have to go.
I knew this was going to happen. Because you took too fucking long to do the notes. Let's talk about TLR and we're going to finish it up real quick. All right, so
they're done.
Future of TLR. We come back to the same goddamn argument. Tell your girlfriend 10 minutes. We're hearing that Phend I'm hearing that kind of Fend's leaving for sure. I don't know. Like, it's iffy, muscle manus. It's still like wonky, you know?
Yeah.
But let's talk about really quick. If Phend goes to TLR, it goes to X-Ray. We talked about this briefly. I think that on the last podcast, it's kind of the same situation as we just talked about Mayako. Yes, they'll have Tater, but let's be honest. Phend has kind of carried TLR for the last fucking 10 years.
Yeah.
And if he goes to X-Ray, I think X-Ray takes out TLR with two big moves in one swipe.
Yeah, I think the issue with TLR is they really never had anything else than top drivers, and that was it.
You know what? You've got to go. You just ruined our silly season podcast. You know what? I'm going to let you go and I'll continue this one. Thank you, Max, for your time. Hey, you know what? In the comments, let me know who agrees with Max and who agrees with Lefty. Max, thank you for your time. I'll see you in a bit.
Okay.
All righty. So Max had to go because he took too long to do the notes. That's why. Let us know what you guys think about my discussion with Mayako and all that type of stuff. Do they need? I think they need a top driver. He brought up the example of Mugen. Yes, I get what they're saying with Mugen, but they also have the Killick brothers. They have Adam Drake. It's a different circumstances. They have legacy, all that type of stuff. But let's move on to TLR. Like I said, unconfirmed that Phend is probably going to X-Ray or was testing an X-Ray. We kind of blew the lid off of that. I don't think that was supposed to be announced, but hey, if you're going to test in a public place, people are going to see it. It's probably going to get announced. Excuse me. I want to talk about that briefly. I think Phend is one of those drivers who can go anywhere in the world right now. And I think that he's probably one of the drivers that can pretty much get what he wants pay-wise in the world right now. We don't know what's going on at TLR. We're seeing a whole bunch of discombobulation there. Obviously, he probably hasn't had the best 8-scale year. I think he won one race. He had a good Worlds where he made the final. But you can see the team's kind of shrunken. Tran's gone. Dylan Nelson's doing a good job, but Barry was really good with him, with Phend, and we saw Phend doing very well with when he had Barry in his corner. Sometimes change is good. Maybe Phend needs a change of scenery. Maybe X-Ray has got that. I don't know. I think that Phend going to X-Ray is really a great move for X-Ray and for Phend. He goes on a platform that's already pretty much proven. I think that he can do equally as well with the X-Ray cars as he does with the TLR cars. I think it's a pillow. X-Ray is pillow ball, so I think that kind of in 8-scale might be a little bit of a learning curve. But when you're Phend and you're as good as he is, I don't think that takes long. But I think that the possibility of Phend going to X-Ray is quite strong, and I think that if he does, then we kind of see the argument that we just had with Max about TLR not needing a top driver. And I think that they might be thinking that, like, we'll still sell, and people say, well, we'll still sell TLR cars and stuff. And yes, you will, just like Mayako will sell some of those cars as well. But we're a racing company and we're here to race. And everybody, I don't care what anybody says, everybody that is an RC racer that represents a brand wants to have a dog in the fight at these races. And I think that's what Phend gives X-Ray at American races, something they haven't had since Ty Tessman. Now there's a lot of up and coming racers. Tom Renneck's good. You see Chase Lemieux's doing a little bit more 8-scale driving. Those guys are really good in 10-scale. You see quite a few fast guys in stock. Stakowitz is a fast stock driver in X-Ray. But I think Phend just kind of puts that cherry on top. What that does for TLR, I have no idea. Does TLR care? I think they look at it as saving money. If he does get the X-Ray, does TLR replace him? I have no idea. Who do they replace him with? I don't know. I'm also hearing some rumors about maybe drivers retiring and not continuing their career. Joe Bornhorst is one of them. I don't know how strong that is, but I think there's going to be drivers that retire and don't get a job in RC this year. I think Seth Van Dalen might be one of them. And what I mean by that is that these guys' commitment to RC, like a person like Seth Van Dalen, his commitment to RC, his commitment to full-time work and making a real living, because these guys have real jobs, like Seth Van Dalen, is going to outweigh his commitment to RC. Yes, he's still going to probably go to some races, but I see maybe some guys more going the Tyler Jones route, which is a part-time driver, real job, so RC second. Some guys right out of it altogether. We'll see. I don't know what's going to happen if these guys retire. Like I said, that's just rumors that I heard that they might be retiring. Bornhorst seems to be the main one. But we've seen guys retire. Tanner Denny retired. We've seen this before. RC is a very hard game, and you're only as good as your last win. And you got to win and do well to stay relevant in this very small niche sport that is RC racing. So, going to be interesting to see. What do you guys think? Do you think that I'm going to ask you guys for a lot of comments this week. Do you think that Phend going to X-Ray is a good move? Should Phend stay at TLR? What happens to TLR when Phend goes? What happens to Mayako? What should Mayako do with coming out of the gates hot? I still have a lot of love for Mayako. I want to see them be successful, but coming out of the gates hot with Rana Falk, that year, then not having the best year with him, Robert doing good, Tebow coming on. Is Max right? To an extent, he is, but I just kind of know deep down, like, as an RC driver, as an RC enthusiast, I think that racing is key. I think that performing well, that's why we have pro drivers, right? That performing well at that level gives us something the regular drivers to cheer on. Yes, RC is a participation, and we want our racing matters, and I enjoy when I get a chance to race and all that type of stuff, but it's like playing basketball. Some people like to just play basketball, but they have a favorite team or a favorite player that they cheer on. Some people like football, soccer. baseball, other sports. People like NASCAR, but it doesn't mean everybody can race NASCAR or Formula One. Well, we cheer on sports, but it's no different in RC. So it's going to be interesting. It's still early times here in silly season. I'm also hearing some rumors that Proline let go a lot of workers, so I don't know what's going on there. It's gonna be weird, man. Horizon's in a weird place right now, and it seems weird. Also, so I'm gonna get into some of Lefty's conspiracy theories. I think HB signs a big driver or somebody that might come out of retirement. Not a Ty Testament. I could see maybe Tebow doing a little bit more racing next year for a company. Maybe not a hard schedule, but various races. I think Back said he's supposed to be coming to AMS. Let's see what happens at AMS. Will HB be a team that he's interested in to go run for at some point? Is he going to focus on JTP or not? I don't know, but that's just me and my silly season brain thinking. So it's going to be very interesting to see what happens. Is Mayako going to pick up a big driver? JQ says he has some exciting news. I don't know what it can be. It can be a Mayako driver. It can be an invisible speed driver. I know, like my friends that I know in Mayako, like all they keep hearing is, we need a USA driver. We need a USA driver. That's what I hear. So interesting times. We do apologize. Max had to leave. He just went too long in the notes. I was telling him, like, Max, it's 8:30. We have 2 hours. We got to get this done. No, I got to finish my notes. So let us know what you guys think about our silly season predictions. We greatly appreciate the support. When this comes out to the public, some things might have happened that we didn't know. We are recording this Thursday, the 31st of October. Happy Halloween. By the way, it's Halloween. So we don't know something. By the time this actually goes public, something else might have happened. So if we didn't catch it, we apologize. We missed it. But those are the moves that we're hearing about, that we're talking about, that's ringing our bells. Don't go anywhere, because silly season race is not for the weak. It's not for the short. It's a long race, and it goes on all the way to January. So we're just getting started here with silly season. We don't know if it's going to be as exciting as we think it's going to be. We never know. Silly season is very strange like that. It can be exciting. It can be boring. We don't know. But time will tell. We hope you guys are enjoying the silly season chat. If you like what we're doing, come over to the Patreon, support us there. These guys get early access of it. I actually want to go have that argument with Max on a Patreon only podcast. So we'll see what happens with all of that. You guys, thank you for the support. Greatly appreciate it. I'll see you all by the time you guys heard this. I'll be at AMS. I hope you guys are enjoying the coverage. I hope maybe I'll know some silly season news when I'm there. And I greatly appreciate that as well. I can't wait to get to AMS. To everybody that helped us with the raffles and the waffles with that, thank you very much. Come up, see me at Silly Season. Get us some stickers. We will have some NNRC swag there as well. A limited supply if you wish to buy. And AMS is going to be awesome. And then we have Carpet Champs right off. Even 2 awesome races back to back that I'll be at. And I will do some NNRC content as well, I believe. So I think that's it. You all have a great weekend. Enjoy AMS. If you're a patron, thank you for your support. If you're a YouTube manager, thank you for your support. And that's it, man. I think that's it. No more silly season. Until we know something about silly season. This is your silly season report 2.0. And I want to say thank you to all the NNRC squad around the world. Thank you to the patrons and YouTube members. And thank you to these companies for making it happen. Invisible Speed, High Tech RC, Corsa Tech USA, Sidewinder Fuel, Mayako, Beach RC, Techno RC, Clinic RC, Stacked RC, Racecraft USA. And a big shout out to our drivers: Dave Ronfeld, Robert Batty, Alexander Hagberg, Matty G, Pekko Evening, Yuno Hotnan, and Mason Fuller. And don't forget, use our affiliate links, coupon codes. You can save some money at Donovan RC. You can save some money at Carl RC. You can save some money at Get Shit Done Coffee. Go support those companies. They're awesome. And you help us out as well. Use those links. We have coupon codes, affiliate links, all of that in the written description of this podcast. Follow us on all our socials. We greatly appreciate it. And let us know in the comments. Don't forget to share like this when it comes out. Let us know in the comments what you guys think. We need comments, especially on YouTube. Leave us reviews. I know my hands are going all over the place. See, I got a messed up hand. One hand don't work. Anyway, Nitro's the glory. E-Buggy pays the bills. If the anarchist Max Morton was here, he would say, see you all later. Lefty and Max is gone. As soon as I find that outro, ta-ta for now. See you guys at AMS. Bye-bye.